What happens when Hollywood's sweetest star walks into a trap she never saw coming? When Cameron Diaz agreed to appear on The View, she thought it would be another light-hearted chat about her latest projects. Instead, she found herself facing off against Joy Behar in what would become one of the most explosive interviews in daytime television history. This isn't just another celebrity interview gone wrong. This is the moment when years of behind-the-scenes tension finally erupted on live television, leaving producers scrambling and audiences shocked. By the end of this segment, Cameron would storm off the set, but not before delivering some truth bombs that left Joy speechless and the other hosts uncomfortable. If you want to see how this all unfolded, make sure to subscribe and drop a comment below because this story gets wild. The morning started like any other at The View studios. Cameron Diaz arrived early, her usual radiant smile lighting up the green room as she chatted with production assistants. She had been on the show multiple times before, always enjoying the banter with the hosts. But today felt different from the moment she walked onto the set. "Cameron, so good to have you back," Whoopi said warmly as the camera started rolling. "You look fantastic as always." "Thank you, Whoopi. It's always a pleasure to be here with you ladies," Cameron replied, settling into her chair with that effortless charm she was known for. Sarah Haynes jumped in next. "So tell us about your new project. We heard you're working on something really exciting." Cameron's eyes lit up. "Actually, yes. I'm developing a wellness platform that focuses on mental health resources for working mothers. It's something I'm really passionate about because I think there's a huge gap in support systems." "That sounds wonderful," Alyssa Farah Griffin chimed in. "What inspired you to take on this particular cause?" "Well, when I became a mother myself, I realized how isolating it can feel, especially when you're trying to balance career and family. I want to create a space where women don't feel like they have to choose between being successful and being present for their children." The conversation was flowing naturally, the kind of warm, engaging discussion that made The View popular with audiences. But Joy Behar had been unusually quiet, her arms crossed, a slight smirk playing at the corners of her mouth. "That's very noble of you, Cameron," Joy finally interjected, her tone carrying an edge that made the other hosts glance at each other. "But isn't it a little convenient that you're suddenly so concerned about working mothers now that you've already made your millions and can afford to step back from acting whenever you want?" The studio fell silent. Cameron blinked, clearly taken aback by the sudden shift in tone. "I'm sorry, what do you mean by that?" Cameron asked, maintaining her composure but with a slight furrow in her brow. Joy leaned forward, her voice getting sharper. "I mean, it's easy to talk about supporting working mothers when you have the luxury of choosing your projects, when you don't have to worry about paying rent or putting food on the table. Some of us had to work every single day to make ends meet." "Joy," Whoopi tried to intervene gently, but Joy was just getting started. "No, Whoopi. I think this is important. Cameron, you've been privileged your entire career. You walked into Hollywood young and beautiful, and doors opened for you that never opened for the rest of us. And now you want to act like you understand the struggle of everyday working mothers?" Cameron's smile faltered, and her voice took on a firmer tone. "Actually, Joy, I think you have some misconceptions about my journey. I didn't just walk into anything. I worked incredibly hard to get where I am." "Oh, please," Joy scoffed. "You were discovered by a photographer when you were 16. You literally fell into modeling and then into acting. Some of us had to claw our way up through stand-up comedy clubs and rejection after rejection." The tension in the studio was palpable. The other hosts looked uncomfortable, unsure whether to intervene or let this play out. Camera operators were getting signals from producers in the booth, clearly being told to keep rolling. Cameron took a deep breath, her media training kicking in. "Joy, I understand that everyone's path is different. But dismissing my experiences doesn't help anyone. Yes, I was fortunate to be discovered young, but that doesn't mean the work stopped there. I've spent decades learning my craft, taking on challenging roles, and now I'm using my platform to help others." "Your platform?" Joy repeated mockingly. "That's exactly my point. You have this platform because of your looks and luck, not because of any particular talent or insight into the real world." A collective gasp could be heard from the audience. Even Sarah and Alyssa looked shocked at how personal Joy was getting. Cameron's composure began to crack. "Excuse me? Are you seriously questioning my talent and my connection to the real world? Joy, I've been working since I was a teenager. I've supported my family, I've made my own money, and I've faced plenty of challenges along the way. What challenges? Joy pressed. Having to choose between which mansion to live in? Deciding which designer dress to wear to premieres? You know what, Joy? Cameron's voice rose slightly, her famous smile completely gone now. I came here to talk about something I care deeply about, something that could actually help people, and instead you're attacking me personally for reasons I don't understand. Joy sat back with satisfaction, as if she had been waiting for Cameron to lose her cool. I'm just asking the questions that our viewers want answered. They see celebrities like you talking about real-world problems, and they wonder if you actually understand what real struggle looks like. And what gives you the right to determine what constitutes real struggle? Cameron shot back. Because you did stand-up comedy? Because you had to work your way up in entertainment? Joy, that doesn't give you the monopoly on hardship or the authority to dismiss other people's experiences. The studio was dead silent except for the hum of the cameras. Whoopi looked like she wanted to crawl under the table, while Sarah and Alyssa exchanged worried glances. Joy's voice dripped with condescension. Cameron, sweetie, I've been in this business longer than you've been alive. I've seen actresses come and go, and the ones who last are the ones who understand that beauty fades but substance endures. I'm just wondering where your substance is beyond this wellness platform publicity stunt. That was the moment everything changed. Cameron's eyes flashed with genuine anger, and when she spoke, her voice was ice cold. You want to talk about substance, Joy? Let's talk about substance. Cameron's transformation was striking. Gone was the bubbly actress everyone expected, replaced by someone who had clearly been pushed too far. You sit here day after day, making jokes at other people's expense, tearing down guests who come on this show in good faith, and you call that substance? Joy's smirk wavered for just a moment, but she recovered quickly. I call that honest commentary. Something this industry desperately needs more of. Honest commentary? Cameron laughed, but there was no humor in it. Joy, when was the last time you created something? When was the last time you built something up instead of just tearing it down? You want to question my substance. But what have you contributed besides negativity and cynicism? The other hosts were frozen. This had gone far beyond the usual playful banter or even heated political discussions they were used to. This was personal, and it was getting uglier by the minute. Joy's face was reddening. I've been entertaining audiences for decades while you were still figuring out how to walk in heels on red carpets. Entertaining? Cameron's voice rose. Is that what you call this? Joy, you're not entertaining anyone right now. You're embarrassing yourself. And this show. I came here to talk about helping people, and you've turned it into some bizarre personal attack for reasons I still don't understand. You don't understand because you live in a bubble. Joy snapped. You and all your Hollywood friends, talking about helping real people while you live in your gated communities and fly around in private jets. Cameron stood up abruptly, her chair rolling back. You know what, Joy? You're right about one thing. I am privileged. I'm incredibly grateful for the opportunities I've had. But unlike you, I'm not using my privilege to tear other people down. I'm trying to use it to lift people up. Oh, how noble, Joy said sarcastically, also getting to her feet. The beautiful actress wants to save the world. And the bitter comedian wants to burn it down. Cameron fired back. Joy, I don't know what happened to make you this angry, this resentful. But taking it out on me isn't helping anyone. The audience was completely silent now. Even the crew members had stopped moving, transfixed by the confrontation unfolding in front of them. Joy's voice turned venomous. You want to know what happened, Cameron? I spent 40 years in this business, watching women like you get handed everything, while women like me had to fight for scraps. I had to be twice as funny and 3 times as tough just to get a seat at the table, while you waltzed in and got offered the whole restaurant. That's not my fault, Cameron said firmly. And more importantly, that's not these viewers' fault. These women watching right now, they don't care about your decades-old resentment about the entertainment industry. They care about solutions to real problems. Don't lecture me about what our viewers care about, Joy shot back. I've been talking to them a lot longer than you have. Talking at them, maybe, Cameron corrected. But have you been listening? Because if you had been, you'd know that they're tired of the negativity. They're tired of people like you, who think that tearing others down somehow builds you up. Whoopi finally found her voice. Ladies, maybe we should take a breath here and— No, Whoopi, Joy interrupted, pointing at Cameron. I want to finish this. Cameron, you come on here with your perfect life and your perfect smile, talking about helping working mothers. And it's insulting. You have no idea what it's like to be a real working mother. Cameron's eyes blazed. A real working mother? Joy, I am a working mother. I work, I have a child, I deal with the same guilt and exhaustion and worry that every working mother deals with. The fact that I'm financially secure doesn't erase those experiences. It absolutely does, Joy insisted. When you can afford a team of nannies and assistants and— Stop, Cameron said firmly. Just stop. You don't get to decide whose experiences are valid. You don't get to gatekeep motherhood or struggle or authenticity. And you certainly don't get to use your personal bitterness as an excuse to attack someone who's trying to do something positive. Joy was visibly shaking now, her voice getting shriller. I am not bitter. I am realistic. I am honest about what this industry is really like. You're bitter, Joy, Cameron said quietly, and somehow that quiet certainty was more devastating than any shout could have been. You're bitter and angry, and you've convinced yourself that your cynicism is wisdom. But all you're doing is spreading that bitterness to everyone around you. How dare you, Joy hissed. How dare you come on my show and psychoanalyze me? Your show? Cameron raised an eyebrow. Joy, this isn't your show. This is The View. It's supposed to be about different perspectives, different voices. But you've turned it into the Joy Behar Anger Hour, where guests come to get torn down by someone who's forgotten how to build anything up. The studio was so quiet you could hear the air conditioning. Sarah Haynes looked like she wanted to disappear, while Alyssa kept glancing nervously between the two women. Joy's face was now completely red. You entitled little princess. You think you can come in here and tell me how to do my job? I was doing television when you were still playing with dolls. And what do you have to show for it? Cameron asked coldly. Decades of experience in what exactly? Making people uncomfortable? Creating hostile environments? Joy, longevity doesn't equal success, and being mean doesn't make you interesting. Get out, Joy said suddenly, her voice low and dangerous. Get off this set right now. Cameron looked around at the other hosts, at the cameras, at the stunned audience. You don't get to kick me off, Joy. You're not the only host here, and more importantly, you don't own this conversation. I said get out, Joy repeated, louder this time. And I said no, Cameron replied calmly. I'm not going anywhere until I say what I came here to say. The standoff between the two women was electric. Joy's chest was heaving with anger, while Cameron stood perfectly still. Her composure restored, but her eyes still flashing with determination. Whoopi finally managed to speak up. Cameron, maybe it would be best if we— No, Whoopi, Cameron said without taking her eyes off Joy. I respect you enormously, but I'm not leaving because someone can't handle a civil conversation about helping people. Joy, you want to know what real strength looks like? It's not attacking people who are trying to make a difference. It's not using your platform to spread negativity. Real strength is admitting when you're wrong. Joy let out a harsh laugh. Wrong? I'm wrong for calling out performative activism? I'm wrong for asking hard questions? You didn't ask hard questions, Joy, Cameron replied evenly. You launched personal attacks. There's a difference between journalism and bullying, and what you did here today was bullying, plain and simple. I am not a bully, Joy snarled. Then what would you call it? Cameron asked. You attacked my appearance, my background, my motherhood, my career, my intelligence, and my motivations. You did it in front of a live audience and cameras. If that's not bullying, what is? Sarah Haynes finally found her voice. Maybe we should all just take a step back and— Sarah, with all due respect, Cameron interrupted gently, this needed to happen. Someone needed to call this out because it's been going on for too long. How many guests have sat in this chair and been subjected to Joy's personal attacks, while everyone else just sat there and let it happen? Alyssa looked uncomfortable but nodded slightly, which didn't go unnoticed by Joy. Oh, so now you're all ganging up on me? Joy's voice was getting higher and more strained. "This is my show. These are my colleagues. And I don't have to sit here and listen to some actress lecture me about how to do my job." "It's not your show, Joy," Whoopi said quietly, speaking up for the first time with any authority. "And Cameron is right. This has gone too far." Joy whipped around to stare at Whoopi, clearly shocked that her longtime colleague wasn't backing her up. Cameron seized the moment. "Joy, I came here to talk about something that matters to me. Something that could help people. I prepared thoughtful answers. I brought research and resources to share with your viewers. Instead, you decided to make this about your personal issues with me, with Hollywood, with successful women, with whatever is eating at you. That's not professional, and it's not fair to your audience." "Don't tell me what's fair to my audience," Joy shot back, but there was less fire in her voice now. "Your audience deserves better," Cameron continued. "They deserve hosts who lift up their guests, who facilitate meaningful conversations, who create an environment where people feel comfortable sharing important information. They don't deserve to watch someone get torn down for trying to help." Joy looked around the set, suddenly seeming to realize that everyone, including the crew, was staring at her with expressions ranging from disappointment to embarrassment. "I was just doing my job," Joy said, but her voice had lost its earlier venom. "No, Joy," Cameron said sadly. "Your job is to inform and entertain your viewers. Your job is to ask tough but fair questions. Your job is to create compelling television. What you did today was use your position to settle some personal score that had nothing to do with me and everything to do with your own unresolved issues." The silence stretched on for what felt like an eternity. Joy seemed to shrink into herself. The fight going out of her as the reality of what had just happened began to sink in. Finally, Cameron picked up her purse and straightened her jacket. "I'm going to leave now, not because you told me to, but because I don't think this environment is conducive to the kind of conversation your viewers deserve." She turned to face the cameras directly. "To anyone watching who is a working mother, who is struggling to balance career and family, who feels like you don't have support, please know that you're not alone. The wellness platform I mentioned is real. It's launching next month, and it's specifically designed for women who feel like they're drowning. You matter, your struggles are valid, and you deserve support, not judgment." Joy started to say something, but Cameron held up a hand. "I'm not finished," Cameron said firmly. "To the women watching who have ever been bullied, who have ever had someone try to diminish your experiences or your worth, don't let them. Your story matters. Your struggles are real, regardless of your circumstances. And never let anyone convince you that success disqualifies you from empathy or from wanting to help others." She turned back to the hosts. "Whoopi, Sarah, Alyssa, thank you for having me on. I hope we can do this again under better circumstances." Then she looked at Joy, and her expression softened slightly. "Joy, I genuinely hope you find whatever it is you're looking for, but I hope you find it without tearing other people down in the process." With that, Cameron Diaz walked off the set with her head held high, leaving behind a stunned studio and a Joy Behar who suddenly seemed very small and very alone at the table. The cameras kept rolling as Joy sat down heavily, her face pale and her hands shaking slightly. The other hosts exchanged glances, clearly unsure how to proceed. Finally, Whoopi cleared her throat. "Well, that was certainly something. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll figure out where to go from here." As the show cut to commercial, you could see Joy sitting at the table, staring at the empty chair where Cameron had been sitting, finally beginning to understand the magnitude of what had just happened. This confrontation showed exactly what happens when someone finally stands up to a bully who's been hiding behind their position for too long. Cameron Diaz didn't just defend herself, she exposed a pattern of behavior that had been going unchecked for years. What did you think of how Cameron handled this situation? Should she have walked away earlier, or was it important that someone finally called out this kind of behavior? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe for more stories about the moments when Hollywood's biggest stars show their true character.